I paint kind of colorful, whimsical florals and landscapes and acrylic paint, and I often use permanent marker as well. I do painting and drawing on canvas. I have always been exposed to art. I was raised by two artists, so as a kid I was just exposed to it. It's what I did to play. I would draw and color. It was my favorite subject when it came time for school, and I just kind of knew that's what I wanted to do with a career. So I went to art school, and also I think just being raised by creatives made it okay to be playful and creative as an adult myself. That was kind of modeled for me, so it's just a normal part of my life. This one's one of my newer pieces. I think something that's kind of interesting showing or saying that this body of work has been about 7 years in the making. You'll see in my earlier work a lot more marker and permanent marker work than in my more recent work. It's a lot more acrylic paint than marker. You'll still see some of the marker in my work. And I work really intuitively, and sometimes I'll start with an image from my camera roll. Sometimes I'll just start with paint in my imagination, kind of colors. But nature is kind of the grounding theme that ties my work together. A lot of times I'll sit down and one piece will look really different from the other, but that kind of nature theme is consistent throughout them. So like 7 years ago, I started working on florals out of nowhere, and I just continued to enjoy making them. If I sit down, it is just what comes out of me. But you see some landscapes in this show, and yes, those are newer pieces. Those arrived around COVID. Yeah, these both were part of the Interpretations show where I created work based on my dad's fabric collage pieces. They don't look like his pieces, just want to make that clear from the show. They were not identical representations of each other. It is a very loosely inspired, so he gave me kind of a snowy themed scene and a night themed scene, and I created these pieces for that show. One of my thoughts for using collage for like the first time in this body of work was that he was working in fabric collage. How can I translate that concept with paint, and just having aspen trees and having that kind of grid line. I thought it was kind of fun to play with. So just like all my work, I just play around, and that was an explorative process. It wasn't something that showed up in other pieces yet, but I think it is something I will play more with collage probably in the future, and it is something that I have played with a little bit in the past as well. My art practice is just catharsis. It is just a way to kind of reflect on my life. I create a piece that kind of marks like a time in my life in a way. I'll use it to process. I'll use it sometimes just to think of nothing but color and shape, and that alone is such a rewarding process for me. So I create in a really selfish, from a really selfish motivation that it just brings so much to my life, and it adds so much to my life. This is probably the largest collection of this body of work I've ever shown at once as a solo show. And so for me to see all of these pieces up in one space, it's really exciting. Of course, they've been up in my home. Anyone that comes over has seen them there, but this is the largest. I think there's 32 pieces up in the show. I could be wrong, roughly. And so it's just the most original work I've ever been able to show in one space, and I'm just really grateful. It's a really great and well-lit spot to show. So.